Phew, smells a bit musty in here.
Oh, well, you see, this here select room doesn't get used all that much.
No, and it won't. You know what, like, while you keep it a penny a pint extra. Ooh, look at the cigarette burns on here. Some people have no respect for other folks' property. Oh, I had a beautiful one. I kept it superb. Gellert should have come to our house one day, placed his hand on me upright, and he said, Mrs. Sharples, Mrs. Sharples, he said, never have I felt such a patting. Where's the rest of the picnic committee, then?
Well, there's only Harry Hewitt missing.
When people take on public responsibilities, they should learn to be punctual. As the sole representative of the ladies' snug, I vote we get going.
Just going to give the fire a poke.
Well, I'm afraid that's all you'll be allowed to do. We are in committee. I call it the Blackpool Committee, Mr. Walker, because that's how me and my snug ladies think of it.
Well, the actual place will have to be put to the vote.
Oh, yes, after we've all stated our cases. Oh, there are times when I wish I had the gift of tongues.
One brown ale is requested.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Walker.
Nay, now have that one with me.
Now, there's a very ugly word for what you're trying to do with me. No, Mrs. Walker, that's right.
Come on, love, sit down, take your weight off your feet.
I object. She's no right to be in here. No offence meant, but it isn't even as though the licence was in your name,
Now
is it?
then, Ina.
Mrs. Sharples.
Look, we need an impartial chairman. Come on, sit down, Mrs. Walker.
Thank you.
All right, then.
Oh, don't mind me. Nobody takes any notice of what I say. But I'm telling you this, if she's fit to vote, I go straight through to the cosy snug and inform my ladies.
Where are we going this year? That's all I want to know.
Well, you might ask, Mrs. Walker. Well, you might ask.
Well, last year we went to Llandudno.
Aye, and it rained from beginning to end. Don't you bring that story to me. I'll never forget that day if I live to be 100. It was the longest day of my life. And I don't like telling tales out of school, but there were some people whom that day affected. When the shadow was going past Warrington Bass, it was fogged up like an engine shed, and my poor friend Minnie Caldwell, she cried. Strike blue murder she did, though you couldn't hear her much for them tanners singing chickadee chick, cha-la, cha-la. But she did manage to whisper. Ina, she said, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. I do hope they get me home before rigor mortis sets me. I would like to be laid out decent.
Fancy. All right, then. Llandudno does seem rather a long way out. Where does anyone suggest for this year?
The
Blackpool.
Well, I'm easy.
Well, then, the only thing to do is to put it to the vote, isn't it? I must say the lakes do seem an awful long traipse out to me.
Just a minute, just a minute. 2 males and 1 female. Oh, no, I think Mrs. Walker ought to have a vote. Come on, now, I've got your vote. You put your hands up for Blackpool.
Yes, but should I
Oh,
vote?
Mrs. Pankhurst ought to be turning in her grave. Now then for Blackpool. Go on. The Lakes. It'll be quite in order if you abstain from voting.
Well, I did say I was easy.
Oh, well, that settles it. Blackpool it is. Oh, you're up then. I don't know how you kids keep it up. Out on the pavement at 3 o'clock in the morning and shopping for fancies at 9. If I don't get my full 8 hours, I feel as though I've waken up as I've been eating flop beds. And it wasn't as if that plumber friend of yours was jazzing with you neither.
And what do you mean by jazzing?
Oh, canoodling, carrying on, singing a song about a portrait of my love. By the way, where is that gormless plumber of yours? Has he given you the chuck?
No, he's run off with a black woman.
Oh, I see. So he has chucked you. Oh, well, you don't seem to be breaking your heart over it. Are you going to Southport on Monday?
How do you know about that?
Well, if you keep a lady awake, a lady has a right to listen. Well, all I can say is, if you're thinking of leading one of them down the aisle, you'll take some advice from one who knows. Man is an animal, and woman has to minister to his every needs, but she needs to keep an air of mystery about her. I'll take 2 balm cakes and a packet of custard powder.